What's up, fam? Hope everybody's doing fantastic out there. Today, we're taking a look at a new brand to the channel. This is from Odenwolf. Now, this was sent to me from them for content. So I am going to, of course, be unbiased on this. As you guys all know, my character and everything, can't be bought. So I'm always going to give you guys the utmost honesty when it comes to this stuff. But this is this was a surprise when it came in. I was expecting a smaller fixed blade, and this guy showed up. But since it's I usually don't do the full unboxing here for you guys, but since we've never seen anything from Odenwolf, I wanted to go ahead and do this here so you guys could see everything how it comes. So you do have a kind of a slip box and everything. It does come with a little pamphlet. Talks about some of their best sellers, gives you a little bit of information on the company. You can freeze that, pause it, and come back to it whenever. And I actually think, I didn't put two and two together, but I actually think that's who I've been talking with via email, so that's pretty cool. And so they do have, they do donate a percentage of their sales to support the Bob Woodruff Foundation, which is very cool. Yeah, then they just got some, different stuff. You can scan that to get some information on how to care for the knives and whatnot, and then it just comes in a plastic bag. So this is, I think it says it on here. So there is your model, everything. So this is the Wharncliffe machete. Pretty freaking cool. I've drawn some comparisons to this thing already, and I think this harkens back a little bit to some of the old school cold steel stuff, which is a good thing. It is a D2 blade, and they do have it oiled up really nicely for you. And there's some oil in the sheath, so it's going to be kind of hard to get this thing all in frame, but we won't be doing any zoom ins except for coming in on the edge here. This is just going to be the first part of this video, but we'll go ahead, like I said, we'll jump in to this part here. I'm going to show some actual testing on the knife. I'm going to go into some use of it and everything, and then we'll come back to the tabletop afterwards to show you how it kind of held up after that testing. So I am definitely interested in that. I do like the coating that they put on the blade here. It doesn't look like it's your, the standard in like a PVD coating or anything like that. It looks like it's kind of a black wash, which should hold up pretty well. The handles are kind of like a rubberized plastic. I'm not sure exactly what the material is on there. If I can find out the exact material, I'll flash it up on the screen here. But it does, like I said, it does kind of remind me of the I think they call it Grivex or something from the cold steel days, where it just had that kind of that rubbery G10 kind of feeling. It was, again, it reminds me a lot of that. It gives me plenty of traction, and this is a big handle, so it's like kind of a hand and a half handle here on the on this machete. Absolutely love the blade shape. Now they do call it a Wharncliffe. I would lean it more towards being more of a sheep foot because you do have some curvature in that blade shape. We'll go ahead and talk about the sheath a little bit too, and then we'll get it out of the way. So your standard Kydex sheath. It does have a drain hole down here on the bottom. Pretty nice button snap closure. It is not a pull the dot or anything like that. It does seem to be fairly well made. You do have a Velcro and button snap here on the belt. Yeah, other than that, I mean, the retention on it's really nice. It does use the handle itself for retention, so that would be something where it would eventually kind of wear a little bit over time. But then you do have, again, you do have that button snap closure as well to help with that. So we'll get that out of the way here, and everything's just kind of falling. But let's go ahead, and I'm just going to zoom in. I don't know how far it's going to let me zoom in here, but I wanted to zoom in and talk about this edge here, so you can see you have you have a varying profile on your edge. So they do have a much thinner profile here on the heel of the blade, which is going to allow you for that up close and personal work, more fine work, and a much thinner edge profile to allow for that, even for doing like feather sticking, things like that. Again, just for doing that fine work. And then you have a much thicker edge profile right beside of it that's going to be for that chopping, and that is taking up the majority of the blade. So they only have maybe it's less than a quarter of the blade here is done with that with that thinner edge profile. You do have actually a pretty damn good plunge grind, which is nice to see. You do have a sharpening choil. Not that you would really be worried about something like that on a working blade, but this thing is done very well. The edge profile looks good. It looks very consistent, so you guys can see that here. Very consistent edge profile, and it is a damn razor beam. This thing is sharp. I said razor beam. It's a razor's edge. Oh, lordy. Yeah, it's a very well done edge here. I am quite intrigued to see how well it does, performance wise, but it's definitely nice and sharp. And then the this one here is again extremely sharp. You can definitely feel the difference in the edge geometry there. It's very tacky, very sticky. Yeah, overall, like I said, the handle, without really putting a ton of work into it, does feel pretty comfortable. I'm kind of in between on this hump here, so I'm have to kind of spread a little bit. My middle finger and my index finger, my pointer finger, you have to spread them just a little bit to make it really comfortable. Or I come up here onto the edge here, like I'm doing for for that close-up work, to get a little better feel. So I would potentially like to see maybe this hump just slightly lowered. Again, that's probably just that's just a personal preference. It's just due to my hand size. I don't think it's going to be much of an issue when you're actually using the knife. It does still kind of lock you in there. And then for like the chopping, coming back on it and doing choked back here, it's not too bad. I actually have a pretty good grip on it there as well. So for chopping, it would be really nice. But like I said, as long as I just kind of split that difference there, and it feels pretty good. It's going to be a little bit different with gloves on. So we'll have to see how that feels with the gloves on. It is wintertime right now, so I will be out there with gloves. But I don't know if that's going to really hinder anything or help anything, but massive jimping up here. I guess it's more stylistic than anything, but I mean, it does lock your thumb in. It's just massive jimping. So it's I've seen some I've seen some finger choils on knives be a little bit smaller than that. But it does its job. It locks your finger in, because your thumb in, because it's, like I said, you're able to fit your actual thumbnail in there. Tip profile looks really good, nice and robust. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump out, do some outdoor testing, and then we'll come back to the tabletop after that. All right, we'll see you out there.
All right, what's up, fam? Hope everybody is doing fantastic out there. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of testing on this thing. Hopefully this rig here works out pretty well. I've used it a few times, but usually I'm more stationary. So hopefully this is going to be an okay video. If it is, hey, maybe we'll try to do some more stuff like this. But I've just got a few pieces of wood here, just scattered throughout. This is all off of my pin oak that's right here by the house. I do have a piece of a log over here we're going to try to baton through. Hopefully this will work fine as a baton. But I did want to try out some of the things here, because like I said, we do have a nice, more shallow grind here for some more detailed close-up work. But then you have your more chopping edge out here. So I am just going to basically kind of clean this off a little bit. Just simple task like that. It does definitely work well for it. The edge is definitely sharp enough. It's trying to bite in a lot. I apologize for the shakiness, but it's really the only way I can do this. But coming up, getting choke up spot here, just doing with that more precision edge. Definitely has a different bite to it. Right, got a knot right there. But yeah, it seems to be working really well. The edge is phenomenal. It's got a great edge right out of the box. Just kind of thin this out a little bit so I can use it more for a hammer here in just a minute. So it's definitely working well for that. It would definitely feather stick well. I'm not feather sticking with it, but I can tell that just from how well it's biting. But get that thinned out a little bit where I can actually use it. Maybe a little bit more. that daggone knot right there. There we go. Get rid of that knot. I was able to pull that knot right out of the wood. So now we can just try to keep this all in frame for you guys. Luckily, like I said, we have a little bit of decent weather out here today. It's overcast as hell, but at least it's not raining and it's not freezing cold. At least it's not raining yet. It's probably going to here in a little while. But yeah, that's going to work pretty well for just about anything you need it to do so far. The blade stock is thick enough and it's heavy enough that it's probably going to chop pretty well. And you do have the extra handle back here, so you can choke up and do your precision work, or you can jump back and do that. With gloves, I don't have any issues with the handle. I don't think I would have any issues with the handle without gloves either. But yeah, it's definitely a pretty comfortable. Let's go ahead. I'm pretty sure that, I mean, this is kind of stuff that would just break normally, but we'll see if it chops pretty well. So didn't go quite all the way through it, but it went probably 3/4 of the way through it. So not doing too bad. It's just pretty much just breaking it more than anything. So it's doing pretty good. It is, like I said, it is a thicker edge up here where we're actually doing the chopping. Try to get a spot to where it's not going to actually break through. And it's, believe it or not, it's really quite difficult to swing a big old knife and watch your piece of wood and have a camera and make sure you're in frame. It would be a lot easier if I just set this up somehow and did it that way. But you know my motto: work harder, not smarter. So okay, so you can see. I mean, I am doing this as if I was actually trying to do this for prepping firewood. You know, anybody that does this kind of stuff anywhere will tell you, you don't swing with 100% effort. Otherwise, you're going to be tired. You're going to wear yourself out in literally no time. So these are just normal swings. I'm not swinging the shit out of it. I'm just, just using my arms mainly, letting the weight of the tool do the work. It's not an overly heavy machete. Well, it's not really a machete, but they call it a machete. It's not overly heavy, so it's not got a ton of chopping force, but it does have plenty. And then, of course, coming out here further to the edge or trying to get right into that bite area. Probably should have eyeglasses or something on. Let's try a little bit thicker piece here. I don't know how rotten this is. This stuff has been sitting on the ground, but not rotten at all. Yeah, so it seems to be working pretty well. I don't have any issues with how the edge is doing. I was able to find this partially split log, so we are going to go ahead and try to do a little bit of batoning. Let's see here, there we go. So forgive the noise. Yeah, that wasn't really much of an issue at all. Let's see, I'll spin it around this way. I'm glad I'm doing this in the wintertime because I don't want to know whatever it was making all that web over here on this log. Yeah, it batons really, really stinking well. Yeah, I mean, there's zero issue with how that batons. I mean, I wouldn't expect it to because, again, the size of wood that we're dealing with, the size of blade that we're dealing with, the thickness of the blade, It's got a really strong edge profile on it. I mean, we'll get close-ups here in a minute, but you can see the blade coating's actually holding up fairly well. I mean, you can definitely see some wear and stuff there, but not anything crazy. Just doing some kind of flick cuts here. Seems to be doing well. I mean, you want to get up close here. Doing any kind of notching stuff. Let's see if we can. Sorry, you guys can't see what the hell I'm doing. I'm just trying to do just a little bit of a notch here. Again, it's not the easiest thing to do on camera, but you can see it'll notch a stick just fine. Let's do some. I mean, it does its job. I mean, it's a sharp knife, so it's going to do sharp knife things. Yeah, let's do a couple more chops, and we'll head back in the house. I mean, there you go. Again, that's about a half power shot right there. So, I mean, this is probably a 1.5 to 2 inch stick. So, and this stuff it's been sitting out, but it's not by any means rotten. It's still fairly heavy. I mean, this is the same stuff that I've been using to baton with. So, I mean, it's the exact same, come off the exact same tree. Been sitting out for about the same amount of time. But yeah, like I said, it'll definitely do its job. You're still able to baton even some smaller stuff with it. Oh, let me get back to my right hand here, as in the left hand. Gone through this knot in this thing. So, I mean, yeah, no issues really. I don't think there's I think these things, what these things sell for, I don't think there's going to be any problems with them. So, I missed the wood I was trying to hit. So, anyway. Alright guys, hopefully that gives y'all a little bit of an idea of what this thing's capable of, how it performs. Personally, I like it. I think it's going to do well. Again, I think these are definitely, I know they're under $100, and for how it's performing, everything, except for the thickness of steel you're getting, I think you are not hurting yourself for that. I mean, it's D2 steel, so it should hold an edge fairly well. I'll check it when we get inside and see if there's been any edge deformation or anything like that. We'll get it up close on the camera. I mean, we did cut through a couple of knots, and again, this is oak. I mean, it's pin oak, but I don't know if there's much of an issue. I'm not a wood guy, so I don't know if there's much of an issue between oak and pin oak, or difference between oak and pin oak. So, but I do know oak is a little bit of a tougher wood. So, you're cutting through oak and seem to do just fine. This different edge angle here definitely does help as far as doing those different cuts and things like that. So being able to just kind of shave off. So there's your feather sticking kind of thing. So for folks that want to see that kind of stuff. I don't know what wood this is. I'm sure somebody out there can tell me. This was just, I found it in the back of my old truck out here. Some old firewood. So I know it's not being firewood. I don't think it can be pine, but it definitely feather sticks very well. So anyway, guys, all right, let's get back to the table. All right, guys, back in from the cold. Thankfully, it's wasn't terribly cold out there. Yeah, so I'm actually, I mean, not surprised, but I'm pleasantly impressed with how well this did. Yeah, I didn't have any issues with the handle. Of course, I was wearing gloves. I did not try it without the gloves. That's because I know if I'm out there working, I will have gloves on. But if you don't have gloves on, I don't foresee there being any issues here. The handle is a little large for my hands. It's on the larger size, I'll say, for my hands. But again, I didn't have any issues. And then the rubberized grip, if you don't have handles on, or if you don't have gloves on, should provide ample grip. Let's go ahead and zoom in to the edge here. So didn't do anything crazy with this part of the edge, but you know, you can see the coating there seems to hold up pretty well for what I did with that. Chopping wise, you can pretty much see anywhere where the edge was used, or where the edge came through. Like right here was the main spot. You know, this little spot right here was mainly where I was chopping. I don't see any edge deformation at all. I don't feel any edge deformation. I definitely don't see any glinting or anything like that. So just on first inspection, I'd say the heat treat seems to be pretty decent. I mean, what I did wouldn't or shouldn't dull an edge a ton, because I mean, I wasn't out there for an hour chopping away, but I mean, I did put it through some pretty dense wood. So it seems to be doing okay, and none of that stuff was like cleaned off or anything like that. So, you know, there was dirt and all kinds of other crap on it. So it seems to be doing pretty well. Like I said, that coating seems to hold up. I can try to clean that. Let's see. Excuse me. See how much of this is coating wear and how much of it's just gunk from the wood. So we'll get a little bit of alcohol. Wipe it down, see how it does. I need to get me a spray bottle so I can do this better with a spray bottle for my alcohol. Probably have one in the house somewhere, I'm just not using it. Alright, let's see here. So I'm just going to wipe this edge down. Dry it off. Yeah, so it seems like that seems like the coating held up just fine. We'll zoom in a little bit more here. You do have some spots there where it looks like, let's see, let's get in a little bit further. It's cleaned off. So yeah, so we do have a few spots like right here, stuff that I can't tell if it, nope, that's just gunk from the wood, never mind. So yeah, I'd say so all these white spots here, this is just stuff that didn't clean off the edge. So yeah, I don't see any real wear on the coating, which is nice. Heck yeah. So I'd definitely give this a pass. So I do have a link for these guys in my beacon. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can find them on Amazon as well. You know, if the prices are the same, I'd really appreciate it if you guys use the link. It helps out the channel. Like I said, they did send this over to me for testing and evaluation, and I would say it definitely passed. The handle still feels, I mean, exactly the same as it did. You know, I really don't have anything negative to say about it. Let me get a piece of receipt paper here. I don't know how well this thing cut receipt paper before, so I guess, you know, this isn't really much of a test, but let's see. I mean, it's still trying to slice. Yeah, it's still slicing paper there. I don't think this edge would have ever really sliced paper just because it's such a thick edge, but I mean, it is. There you go. So it is still slicing paper. Receipt paper is not the easiest thing to cut with the best of edges, let alone with a big thick edge like that. But I can tell it still feels very sharp. Running my fingernail across it, I don't feel anything really. I get something right here, right where I was chopping. Let's see, is that gunk or is there something there? Hold on, let's zoom in. So let me find it again. So right there. Okay. Yeah, right there. So if we are zoomed in really tight, yeah, right there. It's not a chip in the edge or anything like that. There might be a very slight roll right there. I'm catching it with the tip of my fingernail. But you guys can see there's nothing. Well, you guys can't see because there's nothing there. Okay, yeah, there it is. So you can barely see that slight roll right there. Yeah, it's just a very slight roll. Might be where that specific spot on the blade caught a piece of dirt, or really hard spot in the wood or something. But I mean, I can barely feel that with my fingernail, so I don't foresee there being any issues with this knife at all. I would definitely pick one up. So anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you. I hope everybody really enjoyed the video. This one took me forever to do, and I apologize just because, like I said, the weather has been absolutely horrendous out here, and I'm not one that's going to go out in 10-degree weather if I don't have to. So anyway, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. As always, please remember to be kind, be humble, and be EDC. We'll catch you on the next one.